That's fine with me because we are quite wealthy as a result of my inheritance and some lucrative cases I have handled as a criminal defense attorney.
This is I Don't Even Own a Television. Dachshund Through the Snow.
There are books that are good, there are books that are bad. There's some books so fucking awful you wish you never had read them at all, 'cause a novel can ruin your life. Hey buddy, I don't even own a television.
Greetings, welcome to I Don't Even Own a Television. It's a podcast whose name isn't really a pun either. My name is JW Pun Critiquer Friedman.
And I'm, as always, Chris. Jesus, I am, as always, able to pronounce my own name, which is Chris Punny Collision. You can call me the Pun-isher.
Oh, okay, Thomas Jane, who we all know was the best Thomas Punisher.
But don't call... Well, side note before I move on to my next joke, I tried to watch that movie because it's got a little bit of buzz as, you know, like, low-key modern action classic, but about 4 minutes in, your protagonist is shooting an old woman, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, this is for some people for sure. I think I can't really watch classic action movies anymore.
Yeah, it's the John Wick effect. I have the same problem. I try to watch every single one of those movies and I bounce right off them because there's too many guns and knives. I think they're just not for me. You know what else is not for me?
What's that, Jay?
Books with titles that are supposed to be puns that aren't even fucking puns. Like the one we're talking about this time. Dachshund Through the Snow.
Now, what is and is not a pun is a fraught conversation and not one I feel willing to take on. I think it's safe to say that this is at least a play on words, right? It's
if
a word
read to oneself silently, sure.
Yeah. And, well, okay. The problem is, it's not really a phrase that you use. It's only a phrase that you sing, right? Like, no one ever, except ironically and referentially, says, I was dashing through the snow. That's just not a thing that happens.
And
right?
Dashing and dachshund sound nothing like each other.
That's extremely true. I will, however, you know, based on the fact that I'm grading it on the, it's a song lyric change, not a, you know, straight spoken word or written word change, I'm grading it on a substantial curve, and to me, the fact that at least it scans, that is to say, you can sing it and it will sound basically right, is fine. That makes this fine to me.
So would any other two-syllable word that starts with D. You could say doorknob through the snow. That's not a pun either.
That's hilarious, and I can't wait for your new home furnishing-based series of mystery novels, Jay.
I figured
Try
it out.
another one. I'll be ready for that, too. Denver Through the Snow? Great. I don't even give a shit if it's about a dinosaur or a third-tier town. Like, whatever. I'm ready for it.
Oh, man. I figured out the only way that this works audibly out loud is if you pronounce it in the voice of like a cartoon character from the 1950s who's supposed to be from the Bronx. And you go like, Dachshund through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Like, that's the only way it works.
The Dachshund Through the Snow, presumably on the way to the Turlet, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Or maybe like a really exaggerated version of the Saturday Night Live Da Bears voice. But like that's Dachshund Through the Snow. But it does. Oh god. Okay, enough. I'll stop, I promise.
You're kind of getting into Mo Sizlak territory there.
You're right. Actually, Mo, I've never intentionally tried to do a Mo voice, and I'm not going to start, but I think you're right. Mo would probably say dachshund and dashing in ways that sound pretty similar. Okay, so what is this book?
Well, you know, it's by David Rosenfeld, national best-selling author of Deck the Hounds. And if you think Dachshund Through the Snow didn't work...
Deck the house also means punch the dog, people. Don't name your book that.
That's not cool. That's it, David Rosenfeld. We're canceling you for dog violence.
You better go sign a letter right now.
So yeah, did I say that this is an Andy Carpenter mystery yet? I don't think I did. Jay, this is an Andy Carpenter mystery. And our listeners can't see this because this is a podcast, but you're nodding with like an enthusiastic assurance, like those are words that mean something to you.
That's a real seal of quality, let me tell you. There's nothing that makes me feel better about picking up a book than seeing the words "An Andy Carpenter Mystery" written in small letters on the front, perhaps under a cartoon drawing of a dog.
Nailed it!
Yeah.
But brace yourself, because it's not really that good.
No, it's not. This is not Chet and Bernie, folks. I just want to get that out there right now before everyone rushes to their local purveyor of ebooks, because I'm willing to guess this doesn't exist in print. I'm probably wrong, unfortunately. And purchases it to read. You really don't want to read this book. It's really stupid and bad. And while it does feature dogs, I'd say it more prominently features a dog shit sense of humor that's on display on like every page. We picked this up thinking it was going to be a cozy mystery about dogs. I'd like to invent a new genre to slot this into, which I call the Bozo Mystery.
Ooh.
Because this shit is clowny as fuck.
Let's have some examples, Jay, because as we'll discover over the next hour or so, I disagree very, very strongly. So I need you to show your work.
Okay, well, first of all, it's written in the style that I love, ironically, very ironically, that I like to call over-expository. I finally figured out the words for it, where it's not just like, you know, he was a lawyer who was good at his job. It's like, he was a lawyer who had been a lawyer for 32 years, and he was very good at his job, which you knew by the amount of cases that he won. I just made that up off the top of my head, but that's the style of this book. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know where this style comes from or why certain people choose to write this way, but it is like he sat down on the chair that he had inherited from his grandfather. His grandfather was a very old man when he gave him the chair, which is why he inherited it. It's because he was dead. The chair had 4 legs. It was comfortable. He was watching football.
I mean, you could tell me that those were highlights that you had written down earlier from this book, and I would be like, yeah, no, man, sounds right. I remember that too, haha. Because you have exposed an uncomfortable truth about this book, which is that basically it feels as though somebody took the world's biggest salt shaker, filled it with the words "and then," and sprinkled it over every page.
Here's a real one. Talking about, I believe, a park near his house. Not only did I grow up playing Little League and high school baseball on its fields and tennis on its 4 courts, but it's where as a teen I hung out with friends trying to pick up girls.
Is my man trying to hit on this park? Like,
I think he is, because let me tell you, there's nothing that Andy Carpenter loves more. Well, there's 2 things Andy Carpenter loves. Let's be real. Dogs.
Okay.
And every sport known to man.
Yep.
And also his beautiful wife. And telling really bad "my wife" jokes about her constantly.
Yeah. His wife, who is attractive, by the way.
Which is interesting.
He's careful to mention that every fucking time.
It's interesting, though. She's the only character in this entire book who I have any idea of what they look like. Because one thing, Mr. Rosenfeld, is that it?
Sure.
Yeah. One thing he doesn't do a whole lot of is describing people in any way that doesn't involve, say, one or two adjectives. Like there's a guy who's big and mumbles, and then there's another guy who's small and pessimistic, and then there's another guy who's a cop who likes burgers, and then there's another guy who is a cop who also likes burgers and basketball.
And his cop dog. Yeah. Jesus.
At one point, our main character enthusiastically tells us, because this is written in the first person, present tense, of course, that he is very excited. It's going to be a great day because there is both NBA and college basketball on tonight.
Take that, wanting to do other things. Yeah, no, there's a... Hang on, I want to find a line, because a big part of this book is the putative everyman charms of our hero, and I think every word in that should be in the scariest scare quotes you can imagine. This is from page fucking 6. So right now, my wife is doing her thing, and I am fulfilling my own wish, which is to sit on the couch and watch ESPN. Oh, yeah! I'm in the man cave, baby!
He is supposed to be, in many ways, I feel like, kind of a less slovenly version of an Al Bundy type character,
yeah.
You know? He's a lovable loser, supposedly, a little bit. You know, he's also sort of supposed to be, pleasantly sarcastic. And the problem is that, like, they don't hit the first beat of either of those things. He just comes across like a grumpy asshole who just wants to... Like, this whole book is a series of vignettes of people interrupting him watching sports so he could get mad about it and then move to the next plot point.
Yeah, and, like, the thing is, like, a lovable loser is tolerable because at least you can see that life is shitting on them. So it, like... makes you care about them, and then when they're a bit of a dick, you can be like, well, I can tolerate some of their dickishness because the world is shitting on them. But this guy is also supposed to be a shit-hot defensive lawyer who's rich, by the way.
Very rich. So rich that he pays a running tab for 2 cops at a bar near his house that play sports, which is in no way a conflict of interest and is definitely very legal.
Oh, okay. Actually, I want to talk about that for a second. Let me correct one tiny flaw in what you just said. It's not 2 cops. It's the chief homicide detective and the editor-in-chief of the local newspaper. So and a rich guy who is paying their tab meet for beers and burgers every single night when he's not on a case. And they explicitly talk to him as though they owe him a lot of favors, and both of them jump. That both of them just say, how high, when he says frog to them. And it's really, really appalling. And it made me come up with a thing that I'm calling collisions conjecture, which goes like this. The thing about a cozy mystery is that the character is outside the power structure in some way. And that's what kind of makes it interesting. And sure, they very often have a cop love interest or a judge buddy or something like that to ease the plot along.
Yeah.
But it's important that they're not literally the one pulling the municipal strings.
Yeah. There's never any doubt that A, this mystery is going to get solved, and that B, the client he's representing, who is at the center of said mystery, is going to be acquitted. Because from like page 20 in, you know that he's not only best friends with everyone in the entire legal apparatus of the town that he lives in, he also buys them things all the time.
Yeah, if this book had the courage to plot as cynically as its world is built, the plot would be about 2 pages long, where this poor innocent sap gets arrested for a crime he doesn't commit, and Andy Carpenter bribes the chief homicide detective to frame somebody who they then convict and they all go home. You know what I mean? Like, that's how this world would work, except that there's this sort of light comedy plot uncomfortably glommed on to a very cynical and dark worldview.
Yeah, that's very true. Because, we haven't really mentioned it yet, but the case in question is a 14-year-old homicide of an 18-year-old girl, which, by the way, you're dumped into on the first page of the book. So after you open the book with the cute little dog on the front and stuff, it's like, there were skin cells underneath her fingernails indicating signs of a struggle and DNA and all this kind of shit. And it's like, whoa, tone it back there, buddy. And then, like, 2 pages later, he's like, my wife. And you're like, oh, cool. I don't know. It's like, it's sort of like, to use the kind of metaphor that our author would probably use, like flipping between channels between like CSI and Perfect Strangers, but like at a speed of like 30 times per second. It's got this real sitcom sense of humor for sure. Then it's also got this really kind of fucked up dark mystery with hints of sexual assault that are, hinted at, but, not actually there, but still like it's I would say a mystery that would appear on a SVU sort of show, and it's really a little bit disturbing. And then it flashes between that and just like the corniest, stupidest like comedy scenes you can imagine. It's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because, like you said, the cover very much promises the coziest thing. It's basically like the cover promises a Hallmark movie. You turn it on and it's CSI After Dark, and the juxtaposition and the whiplash effect are really unpleasant. As is the wisecracking, because it's basically like House without a limp, but he's a lawyer investigating a murder.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how you want to spend your time. I got to be honest, I've read worse books that weren't for this podcast, but it wasn't necessarily how I wanted to spend too much of my time. Though this is basically harmless, and I didn't hate it. I'm getting the sense that as has become the norm, I didn't hate this one quite as much as you.
I didn't hate it. Like I said, I found it kind of hilarious to read because it's so poorly written. But I hate the concept of it, for sure.
Yeah.
And I hate the bait and switch. Because, like, for sure you look at this and you think there's going to be, like, a cute dog is kidnapped. Or, like, a cute dog's going to help solve mysteries. Or something like that. But it's like, no, it's just a guy who has dogs wisecracking about murder.
Yeah, and also, like, even the dog love part, he says he loves dogs a lot. But then there's a moment where he says he had not even walked his own dog for a month. And, like, I'm sorry, that's not how you love your dog. Or maybe that's how you love your dog, bro. But that's not how I love my dog.
That's how extremely rich people raise their children.
All right, so should we stop opining about the book and give our beloved listeners a tiny glimpse into it, perhaps by trying to describe the plot with some arbitrary and increasingly difficult for me to manage constraint?
Sure. Plot in 60 seconds. Here's a song. Woof.
You got 60 seconds, screaming the shout. You got 60 seconds, don't leave nothing out. You got 60 seconds, just open your mouth and tell them what the goddamn book's about.
Hey, Jay?
Yeah.
Who let the dogs in to this podcast?
Oh, you're laughing now. You won't be later. So do you think you could describe this book to our listeners in 60 seconds or less?
I'm sure going to try.
Okay, well, let's begin.
Our hero is Andy Carpenter, a famous lawyer, but also he's super rich and lazy and sarcastic and just wants to watch sports on TV. And I hope that sounds good to you because that's all you're going to get for 350 pages. His inciting incident, his wife, Lori Collins, is a Christmas hardliner who brings holiday cheer to all around her for 3 solid holiday months, including the people who write down their Christmas wishes and put them on the bulletin board at the pet store because that's what we need to have happen to make the plot start. Anyway, a little boy wants for Christmas, his dad back. Dad's in jail on suspicion of murdering his girlfriend. Well, really, he was her side piece 14 years ago. Andy doesn't want to take the case because that's fun to read about, but eventually he does, along with his crack legal team. Hike, a depressive, Marcus, a black man Andy is frightened of, Edna, a lazy person, Sam, a hacker, and Lori, his wife and an ex-cop. Noah Trainer, the guy who was accused, didn't do it. His girlfriend Kristen had just quit her job at Yoyodyne Industries where her boyfriend worked for his dad, the founder. Did the boyfriend kill her, even though his name is Kyle? No. Did Kristen have an affair with Kyle's dad, Arthur? The book head fakes at this for about 1 million pages, and then throws in at the last second a corporate malfeasance scheme, whereby Yoyodyne routers monitor and report on the data that passes through them. For example, the crimes this facilitated involved gambling on one college football game. Anyway, for reasons, Andy decides that it was not Kyle's father, Arthur. It was, in fact, some other guy who we met 2 fucking times in the entire book, and he confesses into a tape recorder. The end.
Okay, that's way over, but it's too good. It's not called Yoyodyne. It's called, I believe it's called Netlink, which is the name of an actual company that makes routers. And this is a company that makes routers. Which,
yeah, man, but I don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
Also, everything good about this book is basically how Jersey it is. So I really wanted to up the Jersey quotient, so I had to call it Yoyodyne.
Okay, that makes sense. It's interesting to me because I don't think Marcus is ever specifically described as being a black man.
That's true.
I think that you inferred that solely because our narrator says many times that he can't understand him when he talks, which is a whoa boy. Not great.
And because he's so frightening.
And that's not on you, man. That's not on you. That's on this book.
Yeah, I might have fucked that up. I will cop to that. But the thing that I also need to say about my assumption about Marcus is that I've read just a pile of these dumb books, and the Hawk from Spencer vibes couldn't be stronger in this one. So maybe I made an untoward assumption, but I feel okay about it.
I pictured it in my head as well, but then went back and looked through the book to see if it was ever explicitly mentioned, and it's not. And I believe that literally the reason that it's inferred so much is because he's only described in terms of his physical size, strength, and the fact that our narrator, an extremely white man, has difficulty understanding him speak. And I'm not one to make assumptions like that when I read normally, and the fact that both of us kind of made that same assumption, I think says that this book is not great at diversity.
I think that's fair. I think I can resolve all our problems with one quick casting decision. Marcus will be played by legendary Vancouver Canuck and man of Swedish extraction, Marcus Naslund. Who would be hard to understand because as a Swede, we know that he sounds like this: Bork, Bork, Bork. And of course would have all the size and frighteningness of your average hockey player.
I think he has 3 lines of dialogue. They're ya, na, and Ural. So it could be that he's just like What was that Dick Tracy character? Mumbles or something? Like the big guy
Something
who...
like that.
I don't know.
Or
Either
maybe,
way.
Yeah, maybe he just really likes Pearl Jam and only wants to enunciate like Eddie Vedder sings.
Even flows as a buttercup. Oh shit, what if it's Boom Hour? Now let me tell you something, man. I'm about to get you behind this bar here, and then I'm going to break your dang old neck, man. Don't mess with Alex Carpenter, man. I'll do out damn old judo throw, man. It could easily be. You don't know. You don't know.
I worry, Jay. I worry that you've been huffing the propane through your propane accessories.
Man, the problem is all these dang old crimes going on right now, and it's like I don't even have any time to watch sports, the NBA basketball, the college basketball, or the NFL football, man. How much better would this?
Okay, so
be
that's it.
If
Have
it
a
was
great
all
night,
characters
everybody.
from the King of the Hill, like the guy who's sad about everything all the time could be Bill. That would be awesome. And then our narrator could be like, "I love dogs."
Okay. Keep
Now,
going.
Let me tell
Who's
you
Lori?
what. Let me tell you what happened and when. I do a bad Hank Hill. Sorry. It's because I put all my effort in dang old Boom Hour, man. But
That's true, and that's obviously the right investment. No, but we got to keep it going. Who's Lori Collins?
Peggy for sure.
I would have said the daughter or the foster kid, the blonde girl.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of her being Peggy over pronouncing Spanish words like burrito. Stuff.
All right, no, let's keep it going. Who's the hacker? Sam?
Well, we already put Boomhauer in one role, so that sucks. I guess he could be Bobby.
All right, I like that. The chief of detectives is a real kind of mean girl wisecracker. He's constantly putting Andy in his place. Actually threatens his life once, in kind of a joking, jocular friend way.
I'm running out of King of the Hill characters whose name I can remember.
Well, it's obviously Hank Gribble.
Oh yeah, you're right. Totally would be Hank Gribble.
I think. Wait, is it Hank? No, it's something
Dale.
else. I forget.
Dale.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, Hank Gribble from my favorite anime, King of the Hill. Well, this is a strange tangent we've ended up on.
This is a little bit of a weird tangent. Yeah, as longtime listeners will know, I am so relentless a hater of King of the Hill that I would even go so far as to continue to dislike it after my friend Jay invited me into his home to show me a hand-curated selection of favorite episodes, carefully calculated to win my affections.
And it didn't work.
So
surprise!
staunch
It's like
is my position.
When people try to get you to like stuff and it doesn't work. It's always so surprising.
It's like somehow this guy had actually seen some of the show that used to come on after The Simpsons and had an opinion about it.
It's like when you have a Facebook page and you post YouTubes of songs that you like, and then you're surprised that no one actually watches or listens to the YouTube videos that you just keep posting over and over again. Like, check this one out. No, hey, check this one out. Check this one out. And no one comments on any of them. It's kind of the same vibe.
As longtime listeners again will know, Emma Ruth Rundle is one of my favorite musical artists, and she had a pretty good tweet that's not dissimilar the other day. That's when you send someone a 10-minute song and 2 minutes later they send you "great job."
Yeah, exactly. No, I love conversations with people online that just consist of them sending me YouTube links and then me waiting like 3 minutes and going, cool song. Because, no, I'm not going to stop my own music to listen to something that you arbitrarily decided I should check out right this instant. Like, that's not what real-time communication is for. Anyway.
Man.
We're really at our best when we're talking about hardcore bands, I think, and not King of the Hill and Facebook. So let's bail out of this right now, and
Okay.
time for some high points and some low points. Here's a song.
High points are high, and low points are low. High points, low points, get ready to go.
Okay, so you take the good, you take the bad, you take the both, and then you have Dachshund Through the Snow. So, Collision.
Wow.
Would you like to start us off with a high point?
I will. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but something that I really enjoyed about this book is the points at which it's really low-key and just very, very Jersey. And let me find an example real quick. The question I ask myself is, why would an international criminal want to kill an 18-year-old girl in Paterson, New Jersey? And my answer, unfortunately, is beats the shit out of me.
Hey!
That is like the tone and tenor of this book when it's clicking and when it's kind of working, I think. The problem is the low point, which I'll just mention but won't waste a low point on it. The whole international criminal conspiracy thing, just the book doesn't care about it. The writer doesn't care about it. The characters don't care about it.
They appear and get knocked down so fast it's like fucking whack-a-mole with these like international conspiracy guys. It's really, really silly.
Like, the main bad guy in this is presented for about half the book as a Jack Reacher level threat. And he's taken down by a retired Paterson, New Jersey cop with his dog. Like, bam, like that. It doesn't take a paragraph.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a less than a page, and the big bad is gone.
But here we are talking about low points, and we're supposed to be talking about your high point.
Well, for me, I'd say the high point in this book is that there's a basset hound in it, and I really like basset hounds. Okay. And they're really cute and long. And they always kind of look sleepy. And there was one in Bloom County. Basset hounds. All right, high point.
I mean, it's as good as we're gonna fucking get. So
you're not getting much more than that out of me. Sorry.
Well, for every basset hound, there must be a Chiweenie, which is to say, for every high point, there must be a low point. I guess I can try to kick us off here.
How dare you tarnish the name of the Chiweenie? It took me like literally a good 20 seconds to figure out what that would be a mix of.
Yeah. Anyway. I mean,
so it's a Chihuahua but longer.
Right. Exactly.
Chiweenie through the snow.
All right, so very early in the book, there's this long subplot that basically serves to introduce us to the idea that there might be cops in the world, and those cops might sometimes work with dogs, and this is all, I guess, to set up the fact that later that retired cop and the retired cop dog are going to save the guy's life, because Lord knows there's no other way to square that plot circle. But we get the following, because there's a lawsuit that Andy has to file to get the dog, basically his dog pension. It doesn't matter. We get the following. Yeah,
basically the cop's retiring. He wants to bring his dog with him because they've been together for 9 years, but the police force insists that dogs serve for 10 years, and so he won't get to take possession of his canine partner.
Whose name is Simon Garfunkel, by the way.
Oh, God, I forgot it was Simon Garfunkel. God, I hate this book. I hate it. I hate it.
I only brought that up because I we don't coordinate on what our high points and low points are going to be. But it became clear to me that hadn't jumped out to you the way I had expected it to, because I jotted that one down as Jay's low point for fucking sure.
Why not just call him Art Garfunkel or something?
How about
Why
Arf?
does it?
No, it's Arf Garfunkel because he's a dog.
Funky Winkerbean.
All right,
I just like to say those words together. Anyway,
who doesn't?
Sorry.
Okay, so here's my low point. It's the following paragraph. I went one step further and enlisted the help of Rita Gordon, the chief clerk at the courthouse. Rita is a good friend and was also a participant in a 45-minute affair with none other than yours truly, Andy Carpenter.
Ooh-yeah.
It took place after Lori went back to her hometown of Findlay, Wisconsin, to take the job of chief of police. And I think this might be just one installment of a long-running series, because there's several moments where a character gets introduced and you get and I'd had an incident with this person before, parenthetical. So, okay, fine, maybe this is a callback to a previous book. Whether or not it is, this is my good friend Rita, who I've had sex with, by the way, is never a good look.
Especially when it's coming to you. I guess this will lead right into my first low point. When it's coming to you in first-person present tense, which makes you feel like you're right there with this fucking asshole who's telling you the story.
Exactly. You can
first
feel
person
his
present
breath on your cheek as he says this.
Yeah, like as he leans over and goes, "Hey, by the way, I stupped her." Because, by the way, this book is written by, I am a Jewish man. Most of the characters in the book are Jewish, and this book is not shy about letting you know that they are Jewish by their use of really obnoxious, over-the-top Yiddishisms.
Let's hear a couple.
That happens a lot.
You know how I love an over-the-top Yiddishism, but
I didn't write any down.
I didn't pick up on any of those. So maybe here I'll just make a promise to drop into the show notes yet again Ed Begley Jr. dropping a bunch of Yiddishisms from A Mighty Wind, which is just one of the most uncomfortable 2 minutes of television I've ever fucking seen.
It's basically it's basically the Jewish equivalent of I'd vote for him a third time if I could.
Exactly.
But yeah, okay, so first person present tense is that's a high degree of difficulty one to pull off. Like, a writer of this caliber should not be fucking around with that. And then in addition to that, he does this thing where he will occasionally switch from that perspective, which is cool. Lots of books switch from, say, a first-person point of view to a third-person point of view, or from the past to the present tense. But in this case, it only happens about 2 or 3 times, and it's only ever done specifically when something in the plot needs to happen that our main character doesn't know about.
Yes.
So rather than use some kind of narrative trickery or something to reveal it later on, which is what a mystery is supposed to do, it'll just cut to 2 bad guys talking to each other about how they did a crime.
Yeah, so that
Well, he's like in a sports bar at the other end of town.
No, it's incredible because you feel it in your bones as it's happening, and you're like, oh, this is information Andy's not supposed to have, but that information is never, not even once, actually useful. It's so annoying.
It is, if you're the type of person like me that reads mysteries and tries to figure out who done it, because aside from the very first time we cut to someone else, which is our international super spy guy hanging out at the Marriott where he eats fancy meals, which, by the way, what?
Yeah.
the one near the airport, with the real fancy ballroom. it's to cut to a, up until that point, relatively minor character, and all of a sudden we're having a ton of exposition coming straight from his mouth as he goes and talks to another character who is being set up to be the prime suspect. And it makes you wonder, I wonder why this relatively minor character suddenly features so heavily in this. Oh! Like, I don't want to be like, I figured this book out real early, but yeah, I knew who did it by the second narrative switch, and it's completely a result of that clumsy plot device.
That's a good pick by you and a good catch by you. Speaking of clumsy plot devices, let me say this as my last low point. I more or less liked the mystery plot here, and I really thought the courtroom scenes were well done. I am a giant sucker for a courtroom drama, and I kind of liked the way those scenes were played out here. However, the plot hinges on the family of Kristen, the girl who was murdered at 18, never going through her desk drawers.
Yeah.
Which is to say, the plot hinges on not going through the desk drawers of a just murdered young girl for 14 years. Now, they try to lampshade that a couple times later and say, oh, we just couldn't bear it. But there's still, and I hate to be this guy, but there's still a pretty big plot hole, which is this was an active murder investigation. I'm pretty sure the cops would have been like, hey, you mind if we poke around this murdered girl's room a little bit? Maybe pick up a clue?
A crucial clue left in a very, very obvious location, like, say, a drawer?
In a manila envelope saying, to mom and dad? Yeah, it's like, that was just a book bouncing off the wall level cheap trick to me. And I don't know, like, I'm usually not a heavy, I don't like the way this plot was laid out or handled guy, but that was just too fucking much.
It's a mystery with no mystery that's solved by just, like, absolute happenstance. It should be mentioned that we don't find out who the killer is until almost the very end of the trial. And it's only because this is happening over the holidays that they keep having recesses and time off to stretch out the length so that finally we can discover who the murderer is.
Right? Yeah, and that's a little cheesy as well, because the only reason the parents go so far as to finally, after 14 years, go through their daughter's stuff is because basically the trial has forced them to. It's forced them to try to move on.
And it's the new year, right? The trial has stretched now into the new year, and they're going to start the new year fresh because after the trial they're going to move on. So they finally do basic police work that should have been done 14 years ago.
Yeah, and they're going to, I guess, probably go, I don't know, join a gym for grieving parents and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess I have to come up with one more low point. My low point would be that this book, I don't know if the author is an attorney or not, and I do agree with you that the courtroom scenes are actually pretty fast-paced and fun to read. Yeah. However, as a defense lawyer, this guy fucking sucks. Like, because he basically, at several points, tells you, the reader, directly, the only way they can possibly get this guy acquitted is if they find out who actually did the murder. And I'm like, buddy, I don't know much about the law, but I know that's not how reasonable doubt works, you know? And he's like, there's no way this jury's going to have any sort of doubt, even though he brings in a parade of witnesses that are like, oh, yeah, you know, the fucking evidence chain was broken here, the chain of custody, and this went wrong, and that went wrong, and this went wrong. It's like this trial would have, at the very least, been a hung jury, even if they didn't find out who did it. And throughout the whole book, it's told over and over again, the only way I was getting him off is you know, if we could find the real murderer and hand it to him, which he does. on the very last day of the trial before his closing statement. It's like, I don't know. It's like somebody watched one episode of Perry Mason and then wrote a legal thriller. I don't know. It bugged me. So there.
Yeah. I mean, there's a moment where he's kind of trying to burnish his wisecracking hard-boiled credentials by explaining to the reader who he is. And there's a line that says something like, I've even been responsible for a number of people going to prison. And I paused because I was like, aren't you a defense attorney?
Yeah.
I wouldn't lead with that on my resume, I don't think.
I also like the old classic, it's a judge who hates lawyers.
Yeah. I mean,
hey, you know what judges do before they become judges? just a little thought there for you. Just, chew on that one while we go into high points here.
I don't want to brag, but I know a few lawyers, and most of them I don't think are quite as lawyer joke prone as this guy. But anyway, as you say, a high point. This is a borderline high point, but there's this semi-cute, hard-boiled vibe to him. He's always wisecracking. And I'm going to read a thing that is a high point for me, not because it's good, how to say it, not because it's really good hard-boiledism, but because it taught me something about hard-boiled writing in general. It's a little bit of a long scene, so I apologize. It has come to my attention that you are preparing to slander my client, Arthur Wainwright, in open court. I suspect that Jeremy Kennan told Wainwright of this possibility, and he freaked out. Let me guess, you're calling to warn me against doing that. That is exactly correct. Mr. Wainwright has many options to deal with this kind of disgraceful behavior, and I will personally see to it that he uses them to maximum effect. Could you repeat that? I can barely hear you, what with my heart pounding and my knees knocking. You are obviously living up to your reputation, but you should think long and hard before you slander Mr. Wainwright. This guy is really on my nerves. Is that what you called to tell me, or do you have something to say that I give a shit about? And what I learned from that scene is how much of the fun of hard-boiled dialogue is that they can't swear, and they manage to, express themselves really disdainfully without just saying, hey, go fuck yourself, because that kind of short circuits the old fun banter aspect.
Yeah, you got anything else you want to say, you piece of shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Listen up, dumb fuck. I'm gonna hang up the phone on you. Yeah, it's like a Jerky Boys call.
Yeah, I could see her getaway sticks coming from a mile away. Whoo! What a piece of ass, I said. That's bad hard-boiled writing right there.
Now I can't stop thinking about it, because earlier you were saying it was all Jersey, and now I'm thinking of the Jerky Boys in that phone call. And just imagining this lawyer calling up and being like, yeah, that's right, I gotta sue the shit out of you, jackass. Clean out your fucking ears. God.
3 things are going to happen. You're going to double-cross me, I'm going to put you in the ground, and the Giants are definitely going to cover the spread on Sunday. Bitch.
Yeah. Have you ever wanted a guy with a mullet in a fucking New Jersey Jets fucking jersey? Wow, Jersey. I didn't think about that until just now. To tell you a mystery, because if you have, I've got the book for you.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to apologize. I definitely should have ended that crack asshole, not with the particular slur that I used. My bad. I was in character. Anyway, yeah. So do you have one last low point that we can, or one last high point we can go out on?
I can, and it's literally just one small excerpt. It's right here. For all of the pressure of the moment, this is a courtroom scene, by the way, everyone. For all of the pressure of the moment, I'm reminded of the scene from My Cousin Vinny when Marissa Tomei as Mona Lisa Vito takes the stand. I half smile to myself as I expect to hear Laurie say, "You can't make those marks without pause traction, which was not available on the Buick Skylark." You know what's a great thing to do in your bad comedy mystery novel? Quote, a good comedic mystery.
Blah, 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 tap dead center. I've been hearing people tell me that was good for 25 fucking years.
Well, it's popular with the Utes, so...
Okay, that line was pretty good, I'll give you that. I don't know why it always worked for me, but that and the velvet suit he shows up with is pretty good. Anyway, this is a movie podcast where we describe the Andy Carpenter film that is no doubt hurtling its way onto screens as we speak.
Yeah, this will be on the Hallmark Channel before you know it.
I mean, if they want to do that, I know a couple guys they can call to help ease the transition. So if you're in charge of making decisions at Hallmark, get at us.
Yeah, if you're interested in doing a subpar mystery with a little Jersey flair and a whole lot of watching sports, you know who to call.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, should we take a break?
I think we should. I'm sweating for some reason. I think it's because I'm just thinking so much about New Jersey.
Oh, I think it's because you popped a Molly.
No, that's probably it. And maybe because I was yelling in a Jerky Boys voice for about half of the past hour. All right, so we're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back with our shoes, so we have them. We're back, and I realized I forgot to mention that our hero in this book is one of those lovable curmudgeons who hates Christmas so much but actually secretly loves it and only puts up with it to deal with his wife and then schedules all of their family holiday meals around sports games. He's awesome. He also has a golden retriever named Tara who he likes in ways that I found a little off-putting, I gotta say, when he describes the dog. He describes the dog more lovingly than his own son, and it's a little upsetting.
We should actually just go ahead and cash that check, because the first time the dog is introduced is worth spending a moment with. Let's see here, because there's a very particular phrase that gets used that I really think the people need to know. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, it's a little squicky. I'm gonna be honest. It's not the way I prefer to hear people talk about dogs. I'm much more of a big fan of like, oh, what a good girl, or look at that cute dog, or something like that. But instead, we get things like this.
So I'm gonna read a slightly long scene just to kind of like whet everybody's appetite for the dramatic readings that are coming down the pike.
Would you say they're Dachshund Through the Snow?
I would. We need to get into this, Andy. Get into it how? The kid's father might have run off with his secretary for all we know. Maybe. And if it's something like that, we can back off. But we're investigators. Let's find out. You're an investigator. I'm a lawyer. If the kid wants to sue his father, that's where I come in. Lori was a lieutenant in the Peterson Police Department and has served as my chief case investigator ever since she left that job. Fair enough. I'll look into it myself. I have another job for you anyway. This one is right up your alley. It calls for a lawyer and dog lover, and you check both of those boxes. as a wife definitely would say to a husband.
I do not provide both of those expositional points.
I do not like the sound of this. Lori knows that I have been trying to get out of the lawyering business for a long time now. Unfortunately, I keep getting roped into taking on cases. Actually, I think this one is perfect for you. You might even have some fun. Side note, strap on your chuckling harness, kids. You know I don't like fun. I have never found fun to be any fun. I'm funny that way.
Studio laugh track.
I'm going to skip a little bit. She says, I want you to meet somebody. He points at the TV and says, while they're talking about the Giants? She says, your client meeting is about to begin. Where are we going? Eastside Park. Can we take Tara and Sebastian? Tara is my golden retriever. She is widely and correctly recognized as the supreme living creature on all planets so far discovered.
What?
I mean, like, I'm a dog lover. I don't think that's going to blow any minds. I'm a nice Midwestern boy. I love a dog. I've known my share of golden retrievers. It is possible to love a golden retriever. It's hard not to love a golden retriever. I think it's impossible to be that impressed by a golden retriever. They're not deep animals.
Yeah. And the way he describes it, like, throughout is like, princess of the world, Tara came, like, it's like, I don't know, like, you get the impression that, like, Tara, like, he probably has, like, a little tiara for her, or tiara, however the fuck you say it, with, like, little jewels and, like, a little tutu for her and stuff. Like, it's really weird. It's like, I don't know. I just don't like it when people talk about dogs that way. You're supposed to be like, who's a good girl? That's how you talk to dogs.
That is how you talk to dogs. And, you know, a way to make a dog think that you're mad at it is to talk to it dramatically. So usher the dogs out of the room and get ready, because that's just how we're about to talk.
Dramatic readings. We're gonna make it sound important. Dramatic readings. Yeah, I got some words for you.
I'm going to talk so dramatic, it's going to scare every dog from here to Hackensack. So, dramatic readings is a part of the show where we
lock up all the pooches in Parnassus.
I can't think of any other cities in Jersey. Hoboken? That's one, I think.
Hey, get Lassie out of Leonia, all right?
Ah, there you go. Jersey City. I know that one. Anyway.
Trenton, which I believe has as its city slogan, Trenton makes, the world takes. Which, wow.
Manhattan keeps on making it. Brooklyn keep on taking it. The bridge is over. Jesus. Okay. Why don't you go first with a dramatic reading?
Okay. This is, as longtime listeners know, the sassiest segment in podcast history. So I am going to read you a confrontation between our wisecracking protagonist and eminence rich guy. He carries a lot of water in this town, does Arthur Wainwright. He owns a factory that makes routers, you know. So it goes like this. Okay, here we go. The woman knocks on the door, then opens it. Arthur Wainwright looks up from his desk as if annoyed, which seems unusual since he requested the meeting. He calls me in with a hand motion, and in the reverse motion seems to dismiss the woman. This guy is good with his hands. I want you to leave my son alone, he says. Fine, thanks. How are you? I mean it. He's been through enough. We had a conversation. No threats and no punches thrown. He seems like he came out of it pretty well. But if you're worried, I'll send him some flowers. What's his favorite color? I know all about you, Carpenter. You do? Then what's my favorite color? Get out of here. You just asked me to come in. Are you rescinding your invitation? Leave now. Your son is a grown man. What are you so afraid of? Would you like me to have you thrown out? Believe me, I've been thrown out of better places by better people, I say as I leave. It's a pretty good exit line, and would be even better if it weren't true. Wop, 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 wah, 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 wah.
That's some good stuff right there. Some grade A wisecracking. It's like throughout this book, he talks about how he has a reputation as a wisecracker, and like none of his jokes land. Which is, I mean, at least I don't pretend to be good at this. So.
That super cynical version of the book that I was kind of calling for earlier has something to say about how the rich lawyer bully thinks he's really funny, but everybody just sort of like politely acknowledges his jokes because he's paying their bar tab.
Yeah, I'm known as a real wisecracker because I pay people to laugh when I tell jokes.
And for the record, if you're interested in adding my dulcet tones to your team in the way of a Sebulba from, the Star Wars series, our email is a matter of public record.
What?
Isn't Sebulba the little, like, thing that laughs at everything that Jabba says?
You are asking me questions that I do not know the answer to. Here's what I know about Star Wars that I can remember. Spaceships. Yeah. Hair buds on the side. Turns out that Luke Skywalker's dad is the Darth Vader. I think there's some other stuff. And yeah, cool. Star Wars. I love it. I love all of the wars in Stars. All of them. Oh, and there's a band that plays this really cool song that goes that's about it. The style of music that they're playing is canonically in universe known as jizz. So you got that going for you too. What?
Not a joke, kids. Not a joke.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I do also know that George Lucas is infamously awful at naming characters and things. I didn't know it extended to calling music jizz. That's a new one on me. But I do know that there was supposed to be a character in one of the new movies called Darth Icky. I remember reading that. And there is a Darth Sidious, right?
Yep, there's a Darth Sidious. Yep. By the way, I need to send a coded message out to our listeners. Things are a little dry here in the East Bay right now, so if you know where I could find any Darth Sticky Icky, again, the show's email is a matter of public record. For the purposes of this joke, marijuana is not legal in California.
The Darth Icky. Want to come over, man? I got some of that Sarsipius's arc. Oh no, that's Infectious Grooves, not Star Wars. Sorry.
Yeah.
I might know slightly more about Star Wars that I'm letting on. So please don't write in to tell me all about Star Wars. I might be doing kind of a jokey thing there.
Also, even if he isn't,
much like
he
the
hasn't
character in this book, I'm known to be a bit of a wisecracker. So
Yeah. But can you get as dramatic as Andy Carpenter?
I can, because I'm going to rewind. I'm going to spin the record back, much like they did in the early days of hip-hop in New York and New Jersey. And spin the record back to a little bit before where you were, which is the first time out of like 8 billion times that our hero visits the router factory / executive office. It's never really explicitly mentioned. I don't know, whatever. Here we go. And it turns out he's there looking for Kyle, the ex-boyfriend of the murdered Ute, and instead runs into the not at all suspicious and definitely not a murderer character named something Kennan. I forget his first name, but we'll do it right here.
I believe it's Jeremy.
Jeremy. Fucking Jeremy. I'm head of technology here, Kennan says. Kyle works for me. He's picked up the tech stuff very well. Obviously his father's kid. When will he be back? Tomorrow morning. Not sure if he'll want to talk to you considering the circumstances, but he might. Which circumstances are you talking about? You representing the guise of... the guy who's accused of... He hesitates. Killing Kristen, he says uncomfortably. We're all following it pretty closely. We cared about her a lot. Hard to believe it's been so many years. You worked here then? He smiles. Oh, yeah. 15 years. I was one of the first employees hired. Has this company grown a lot over the years? He nods. That's for sure. We only had 2 floors back then. Now we have 6. And every time we expand, they make me switch offices. By the time I'm unpacked, they're moving me again. Kristen McNeil worked here back then as well? I asked that, even though I know the answer. He nods. She did. Got here after me, but didn't stay very long. She left a week ago before she died. Why did she quit? I'm not sure. She never told me. I came in one day and found out she was gone. I was planning to talk to her about it, but never got the chance. I don't think anyone knew. It was a mystery. But something must have happened. What did she do here? Just assisting stuff, nothing technical. She didn't work for me, so we didn't interact that much. I think Arthur gave her the job as a favor to Kyle, but she was a hard worker and a good kid. Arthur Wainwright? Kyle's father? Another smile. Also known as the Big Cheese.
Oh!
What does the company do exactly? We make hardware of various kinds. Our main product is routers. You familiar with this stuff? Absolutely. I can even tell you what a router is. It's a device that routes things. He laughs. You're obviously accomplished in the field. All internet communications go through routers. It directs the data, tells it where to go. Even internally, if I send an email to someone in the next office, it goes out into the internet world, and then it comes back, and routers handle all that. Who do you sell them to? We have corporate clients, but a lot of our router production has been subcontracted to us by the huge players in the field. We're a small fish, but we're a profitable one. I just wanted to see how long I could keep that awful accent going for, so now I'm done.
That was incredible. Side note, please don't ever do that again.
Also known as the Big Cheese.
Also known as the Big Cheese.
That's like somebody like when they're coming out to bat, you know? Like
yeah.
Something the PA announcer would say. Oh, speaking of which, I totally forgot. There's an aside of this book, and I'm not going to bother to look it up, but this tells you a lot about this author in particular, I feel like, more than the narrator, where the narrator says he hates small talk, because, tough guy, and he wishes that everyone on the planet had a limit of words they were allowed to say, with a few notable exceptions, which are our
can I read it? No, can I just read it? Because I got it right here.
Oh, go ahead, jerky, whatever.
Hey, didn't mean to cut you off there, Big Cheese. I hate small talk. It's small and it's talky. I wish that people were given a word budget when they were born. That way, they can only say so many words in their life and that's it. I would make exceptions for certain people, like Vince Scully and Tony Romo and myself, but they would be few and far between.
Tony fucking Romo? Like, who the hell? Like, I mean, I don't watch a lot of professional football. I know he commentates now. He's never struck me as a particularly notably good commentator, and I don't think I've ever heard anybody express that fact. Vince Scully, he was the Dodgers commentator. The most loathsome team in professional sports, but everybody knows he was a genius. He was great at his job. He was really fun to listen to.
Truly well loved.
Tony Romo? What?
Yeah,
like Tony Romo, the guy who married Jessica Simpson and then cheated on her, but is a devout Christian, and that's like all I really know about him. Except he used to pray on the field a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it just really like it made me shake my head because I'm like, you're going for sports commentators and you mentioned Vince Scully. I mean, who's the obvious choice, right? Like John Madden or somebody like that, like someone who's known for their commentary skills and not someone who's known as like a pretty good quarterback who was really Christian and now he talks on TV.
Yeah,
I don't know. It
to say nothing
me.
of
It's
like
a weird pull.
It's not just a weird pull. It's a weird pull in a context of a weird flex, right? Like, wow, I wish I didn't have to listen to all you assholes. I mean, so serious question for a second, right? We have not talked much about this character, but his wife, Lori. Let me ask you a question. Why is this book not about Lori Collins? She's got a big heart because she goes forth and like solves people's Christmas mysteries for them. She's got an inquisitive mind because she actually listens when people fucking talk. She's got lots of resources because she got a rich husband who's like politically very well connected, right? Like that is the absolute staple ingredient of a decent cozy mystery. Instead,
I'll tell you,
we've got to hang out with this like cut-rate cheap Jack Al Bundy.
Well, I have a question for you, sir. Did you read the About the Author page? Because I think that will tell you everything you need to know to answer that question.
The only thing I remember about the author is that he used to work in television, big surprise, and he runs a dog rescue, big surprise. And both of which are admirable pursuits. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but he's also pretty much the main character from this book.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's important to write about something that's not yourself.
Yeah. No, I have no doubt that this guy, if this book was told from a woman's perspective, we'd have a much different opinion about it, and I think it would be actually less generous if it were written by the same person. Because I can't even imagine this guy trying to write more than, say, like 3 sentences of a woman's dialogue without saying something that would upset me a great deal.
Yeah,
so luckily,
that's probably
he doesn't
fair.
do that.
Good point. All right. Well,
it would be like that men writing women, Twitter joke kind of thing where it's like, I was putting on my bra and I looked at my boobs that were really nice. I had really nice boobs. Everyone in town thought I had the best boobs and shapely legs. I was really pretty. Page 6.
I mean, yeah, that's disturbing because I think her husband actually says that on like page 119. Like, there's a moment where she's about to testify in front of the jury and he's like, I liked to watch everybody watch her. She was used to being watched. When you look like that, you better be used to being watched. And it's like, what?
That's like the sentence right before the Marissa Tomei thing.
Hey, you mean Spider-Man's aunt? Anyway, all right, we gotta hit the ejector seat. You got some more games for us to play, I believe. However,
I do, and one of them is what is your fave?
What is your fave? What is your fave? When you're presented with a list of options, what is your fave?
All right, so like the song said, I have a list of options, and I'm going to read them to you, and you're going to tell me what is your fave from them. In this case, we're going to talk about, also by David Rosenfeld, some of the other Andy Carpenter novels. It seems as though, from looking at this is an ebook. About the first half of these are links. The second half are just plain text, which leads me to believe that this guy has a backlog of titles, and he's working his way through them. But they're all great, and they're all pretty much fucking punny. So get ready to tell me what your favorite other David Rosenfeld, Andy Carpenter novel title is.
Oh, this is going to be off the chain. Is that one of them?
I had to actually look. No. I don't think so. If so, it's on page 2 because there's like a bunch of these. Okay, so here we go. Bark of Night, Deck the Hounds, Rescued, Collared, The 12 Dogs of Christmas, Outfoxed. Get ready for this one. Who Let the Dog Out?
Wait, just one?
Hounded. Yeah, just one. That's what makes it funny. Hounded, Unleashed, Leader of the Pack, or One Dog Night.
What the fuck is with this guy taking plural things and making them singular for no good goddamn reason? What the, like?
I want to split signage between the Baha Men's hit "Who Let the Dog Out" and then the B-side is just anything by One Dog Night. Okay, so those are all the ones that already exist. Here's some titles that apparently don't link to any. Dog Tags, New Tricks, Play Dead, Dead Center, Sudden Death, Bury the Lead,
those are
First Degree,
those aren't even dog
Open and
puns.
Shut. I know. I'm starting to get worried that maybe the dogs are going to die at some point in this series, and that's already like,
God.
Like I said, after One Dog Night, these stop being links to actual books and just become plain text, which leads me to think he's got an outline, a multi-book outline that covers the entire arc of the Alex Carpenter series from beginning to end. And the sudden lack of dog puns is really getting me depressed.
I have a different theory that builds on yours. So I think you're right, but I think that there's just another series because on my version there's a long list of
there
Andy
is another
Carpenter
series.
novels, and then there's just a bunch of thrillers that all have tough with 2 F's names like Black and Blue, Fade to Black, Blackout, and then he runs out of black ones. Without Warning, Airtight, Heart of a Killer. So like First Degree, Open and Shut, Sudden Death, Bury the Lead, Dead Center, they all seem to fit in that just thriller
so maybe
series.
he typed them in the wrong category perhaps. Or how about some of his nonfiction? Lessons from Terra. Hey, isn't without the name of one of the dogs in this book?
Sure is.
Lessons from Terra. Life advice from the world's most brilliant dog. Dog tripping.
This better not be about microdosing your dog, man. That's not cool. They don't consent to that.
I can't read it without laughing. Dog tripping. 25 rescues, 11 volunteers, and 3 RVs on arcade-eyed cross-country adventure. I thought dog tripping was when you lick a dog and it makes you hallucinate.
I mean, I think that works. Like, I totally went to high school with a guy who did that all the time, bro.
It's when you lick a dachshund's back.
Yeah, exactly. And it will F you, man. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so I have not actually answered the clarion challenge of this. I'm going to say Bark of Night and Deck the Hounds suffer badly from the Dachshund Through the Snow problem, which is to say that they don't make any fucking sense. For nominal mysteries with a dog theme, I think Leader of the Pack and Unleashed are both pretty good. But I'm going to go with something that wasn't on the list. My copy says, do you want to buy the next one in this series, Muzzled? And that's my favorite, because that's what I think should happen to David Rosenfeld.
Oh, god damn. That got the Dice Man delivery. That's how you know it's really good.
That's how you know it's really good.
So for me, I've got to go with my heart. And even though I couldn't stop laughing when I said dog tripping, I've got to go with I think what is just the stupidest name here that made me laugh the hardest when I read it, which is totally One Dog Night.
One Dog, yeah. All right,
like he didn't run that by anybody.
So,
like, honey, come in here. Listen to this. How about this for a title? One Dog Night. And she's like, the Giants are playing. Shut up. I don't know. You know, like.
Well, I didn't know his old lady was also a big fan.
That's the only way you could possibly respond to One Dog Night, I feel like.
All right, so here's a challenge to you. What karaoke style song will you be gracing the Patreon with this time around? Will it be a Three Dog Night cover, or Unchained by Soundgarden, but with the lyrics changed to Unleashed?
Or just Leader of the Pack, right?
Oh shit, you could do Leader of the Pack. That's a real see. That's why you're the musical genius, and I'm the other guy.
Probably Leader of the Pack, because my grandmother had that record. Or I think it was at my grandparents' house, so I think it was probably my mom's record from when she was very young. But I used to listen to it a lot, and they had one of those record players where you could stack like 8 records up and it would drop them down in order. And I remember listening to Leader of the Pack a lot. So,
right.
And also, I'm pretty sure there's a Weird Al Yankovic song called Leader of the Laundromat, but I might be misremembering. Either way, I don't need to know for sure, so don't write in. Thanks.
But you know what there definitely isn't, Jay, that we need? I don't know if you're ready for this. I don't know if anybody's ready for this. But the prequel song to Who Let the Dogs Out. Who Let the Dog Out.
Oh, that's what it's going to be. I am solemnly swearing right now that there will be an extra Patreon bonus, and it's going to be Who Let the Dog Out. And I don't know what I'm going to do to make it any different from Who Let the Dogs Out. If anything at all, I may just perform Who Let the Dogs Out without the S. We'll see.
Yes. Bad ideas committed to. It's the I don't even own a television way.
All right, well, I will be right back. Collision will also be right back. And together, it'll be a 2-dog night. So we'll see you in a couple minutes here. Here's a little bit of that old music, that dang old music there. We're back, and just wanted to let you know, just noticed the very last paragraph of this book is, we head up to bed. Ricky is sleeping at Will Rubenstein's, so Lori puts on some romantic music. Jingle bells. Hey, I know what the first lyric to Jingle Bells is.
Is it Jingle Bell, Jingle my rock? Something like that?
No, it's Dachshund Through the Snow. Anyway,
so... You're right.
So
you were
like
thinking Jingle Bells. I was thinking Jingle Bell Rock. The fuck is wrong with me?
I don't know, but I mean, the circle will remain unbroken, my friends. So, bye. So when you think about it, this book ends right where it begins. It's the perfect setup for the next Andy Carpenter mystery. I
mean, I got to be honest. Before we move on to other things, for a book called Dachshund Through the Snow, could have used a lot more Dachshund in the mix. Very
it's true,
little
actually. The
actual Dachshund action in these pages. Feel misled.
There's a lot of Golden Retriever action.
Yeah.
A little bit of Basset Hound in action, which is pretty accurate. And the Dachshund belongs to the accused man's son and appears maybe 3 or 4 times in the book. Yeah. He does sound adorable, though, and it is made clear that he wears sweaters, which is the best thing that a dachshund can possibly do, as far as I'm concerned, because a long dog in a sweater is the best. Okay, anyway.
I believe that there's a technical term for what that is, and that technical term is adorbs.
I bet you that's like at some kind of diner, like at the Waffle House or something like that. If you order like a big hot dog or something, they're like, "Hey, I need a long dog in a sweater."
God, I hope not.
To the line cook. In diner code, it's sort of like Carney code.
They're busy people. They don't have time to spit out every little syllable. Anyway, let's get the fuck out of this
diner. Give me a long dog on a sweater and put legs on it.
Yeah. What is that? Is that like with sport peppers or?
Yeah, I think that's scattered and smothered, but I'm not sure. Man, why do... Fucking California, man. I do miss Waffle House. Not like it matters. Wouldn't be able to eat there now anyway, so fuck it.
Well, but the good thing about California, Jay, is that California knows how to party.
You know what else is good about California? Every single Anthony Kiedis lyric.
We should mention, yes, we are aware of the how to flip fish with the big fish flipper tweet.
How to flip fish with the big fish.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I won't stop laughing every time I see it, though. So.
Extremely same, but yes, our awareness of it is robust and one could even say thorough. So thank you for all of that.
Abracadabralifornia. Oh, that still remains my favorite piece of parody music ever recorded, by the way. If you haven't, you know what? Let's do recommendations right now.
Okay.
Here's a song.
Not only venom and spite, sometimes with sweetness and light, and we always end the episode by telling you about a thing we like. Recommendations.
I started a new job. I've been really busy and just haven't had a lot of time to read. I've been doing a lot of other stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and recommend that everybody looks up the fake Chili Pepper song that came out the year they performed at the Super Bowl by the comedian John Daly and some other people behind Comedy Bang Bang. They put together called Abracadabralifornia, because if you haven't heard this before, it will make you laugh so hard that your stomach will hurt. It perfectly encapsulates the nature of the Chili Peppers, I think even better than the Big Fish Flipper. So that's my incredibly highbrow recommendation is Abracadabralifornia by John Daly.
Abracadabralifornia. Now I'm going to guess, because that's a lot of syllables, that this is sort of your more ballady, under the bridge style RHCP.
It's got a little bit of both, we'd say, but that part there goes Abracadabralifornia. Yep. And then he says something like shopping cart, escalator in between every time. So.
And as always, I will take this opportunity to remind everyone that my brain can't stop reminding me that the Under the Bridge chorus fits the lyrics of Frank and Furter's I'm Not Much of a Man by the Light of Day song almost perfectly. So that's upsetting.
Oh, wow.
And good luck getting that one out of your fucking head. I'm also going to recommend a little bit of music, and it is a band called Ganser, Ganser, and basically an EP called You Must Be New Here. It's good, it's tight, it's sort of a new wave / no wave kind of throwback. It's very anxious, it's very tense, but it's very good, and it seems to fit the current moment pretty well. I haven't had a new job, but I've also been very, very busy and kind of depressed, so don't have a lot of inputs coming in that I can recommend. Sorry, next time I will do better.
Is it going to make my head hurt like Brainiac? Because Brainiac always made my head hurt really bad.
No, it's more like, I don't know, like female vocals over kind of Gang of Four like music. I'd say something like that.
Ooh,
would get you into the ballpark. I don't think they've got a full length yet, but I think that they've got one dropping like any minute now that I expect to be pretty good.
Cool. I want to check that out because I like the no wave stuff. I like your gangs of four. Yeah. I'd even like a gang of 5 or 6, perhaps. I don't know.
Whoa! Hey, save that for your search history, buddy.
Oh, jeez, Jesus. Well, okay,
we'll probably leave that one off.
I don't think you're getting away that easy, man. I'm not sure which of us comes off worse, to be honest. All right. Anyway, thank you for listening to this really stupid episode of I Don't Even Own a Television.
Oh, we got to do some letters, man.
Oh, you're right. Shit. Here's that song.
A, letter B, letter C, letter D, letter E, letter M, letter G, letter. Got a lot of letters.
Okay, so sometimes the mailman comes in. You know what that means? It means, oh gosh, all the dogs, they're going crazy. Going crazy trying to get to the mailman. You know what I'm seeing? You know, all the dogs? I mean, who let them out? What's going on?
Know.
Help me.
Who can say? So we have a unique batch of mail this time because we have 3 separate pieces, and they are all physical. And the first one is from Record Scratch me?
What?
Now, people who know me in person, and I may have mentioned this on the show before, will know that I have an important rule for my life, which is that I can only use 2 of the following 3 things at the same time. And those things are intoxicants of any kind, number 1, my credit card, number 2, and my computer, number 3. And I can only guess that I violated this rule at some time in the recent past. Because what I have here is what you may remember as the party pack around 101 songs about jazz.
Yes! I own that cassette as well.
Which is incredible, but what I ordered was the coffee cup extra that they mention on the show does not actually hold liquid, and the way that they fulfilled this order was by buying a cheapo plastic injected molded coffee cup that says, "Not until I've had my coffee," and hand drilling a hole through the hole in the O in coffee.
Well, that's great.
So that happened. There's also a bunch of stickers, what appear to be 12 pencils with happy slogans on them like Brad Tuffings, Tracy Chadman, and so forth. And
everybody, if you don't know 101 songs around jazz, by the way, you need to Google that immediately.
I'll definitely put that in the show notes. No fear. So yeah, apparently I decided what I needed to do was support some very dry audio comedy by ordering some merch. Yeah, so that happened, and that was our first letter.
I remember when that tape arrived, and my friend Casey was in from out of town, and we just sat in the kitchen and drank and listened to that from back to front because it is the funniest thing.
It's incredible. I have walked several miles on multiple different occasions listening to that because I just can't quite stop doing what I'm doing once that thing starts. I don't know what it is, but it is a kind of comedy that I highly endorse.
It reminds me a lot of kind of a Firesign Theater sort of vibe, but not quite as nyuk elbow you in the ribs. It's just very dry, weird comedy, and you should check it out.
Yeah. So we have another physical parcel, and this is from longtime friend of the show, Denise, fake last name, and it has a letter that goes something like this. Greetings, Quarantinos. Couldn't help myself after your triumphant video premiere and your assumptions that wax seal's a vampire mix. Kinda ruining it with the legal pad, though. Well, what that means is that this letter is written on a legal pad, but there was an item in the parcel that was literally sealed with a wax seal, which is like the coolest thing ever. I'm sending you something appropriate to the packaging, a personal non-favorite of mine. Feel free to post this on the back burner if you're urban fantasied out. The bad thing about the genre, I say as a fan, is the garbage tropes. The good thing is that they're short, quick reads. This series, like the Dresden Files, more on that connection in a bit, would make a pretty fun campaign of Vampire the Masquerade if the OCs weren't goddamn awful. I suspect that's the actual genesis of this series, claims to the contrary.
I will have you know that the OC was a remarkably great piece of television, and I will take no guff whatsoever. Anyway, sorry.
Nor should you. I never watched it, but one of my favorite things when it was poppin' was my friends delivering lines from the OC dramatically. I really enjoyed that era of my life. I first encountered these during the recession when I was crashing at a friend's place. Multiple people with nominally similar tastes recommended these to me with the caveat, they're really good until they devolve into porn. They were wrong. I read the first 5 in 2 days trying to get the appeal, ended up pitching the last one across the room. Parentheses, all caps, no books were harmed. They are painfully bad. Full of cardboard characters, 90s feminism, and a heroine so laughably not like other girls that it's no wonder she loses all one female friend she has later in the series. The author is very invested in her characters, and her various blogs set her up to be an Anne Rice kind of deluded. I can't recall where I read it, but apparently Jim Butcher was/is a fan of this series, and it may have been the inspiration for Dresden. Side note, let's not say anything we can't take back, Denise. Apparently, his series was originally supposed to be set in St. Louis, but he changed it to Chicago to avoid uncomfortable comparisons. Obvious when you realize how unfamiliar Butcher is with Chicago, even a fictional one. Anyway, I have yammered on long enough, and the sun sets, ... Signed, Denise... parentheses, not a vampire. And what she has sent, besides a beautiful bat encrusted wrapping paper with a wax seal, is 2 copies of Laurel K. Hamilton's book entitled Guilty Pleasures.
Oh, no. I've heard of this one.
Yeah. So... that happened. Thank you so much, Denise.
Thank you.
I don't know. I mean, am I urban fantasied out? Probably. Do I have a little more room in my life for some vampires? Sure, why not? Sure, we all do. The third letter goes like this. Hey guys, I hope this finds you both well. I took another trip to the Oregon coast in the fall, so another trip to the trash and treasure equals another Hardy Boys book. I've been meaning to mail it for a while, but it seemed better timed now. I have to say, I really appreciate you guys are still recording and releasing. I work at a hospital, and hearing both of you makes the days a little less grim. Anywho, thank you for everything. And that is from Sarah, fake last name. And this is a Hardy Boys book number 2.
Holy shit.
The House on the Cliff. And it has an inexplicable 3 boys on a boat crashing through the waves, pointing at you're not going to fucking believe this, but it's a house on
A house on a cliff?
It is, yes. That's correct.
The Hardy Boys series, there's a dark past there. If there was a fourth or third Hardy. I wonder which book he kicks the bucket.
Well, I'm reading... So, on the back here, we have Book 1, The Tower Treasure. Book 2, this one, The House on the Cliff. Book 3, The Secret of the Old Mill. Book 4...
Book 4, Corey kicks the bucket.
You are so close. Book 4 is called The Missing Chums.
Oh, no.
And then Book 5, A Brisk Hunting for Hidden Gold. I don't know what I was expecting. Like, Book 5, Sitting Shiva for Corey.
Book 6, Corey's still not back. Book 15, it's finally sinking in about Corey.
Book 26, hey, so maybe it's just the two of us now, eh?
Can we be the Hardy twins?
Thank you so much for that, Sarah. Always good to have a little more hardback Hardy in my own life.
You know, I feel like such an asshole, but I just got the pun of the Hardy Boys. Like, I mean, just now.
They're not really
because I was like,
tough.
I wonder how come they never got to grow up to be the Hardy men. Hardy! Like, that just occurred to me this second.
Well, on that note...
Yeah, I don't know if there's a better way to end the show than that. So, you've been listening to an exceptionally weird episode of this show. This will definitely go down in history as the quarantine years of the show, or months at least, because we're getting progressively more unhinged as these episodes go on. Hopefully you enjoy absurdism and bad accents, because there's a lot more of it coming your way.
Yeah, that's the direction this train is going, my friends.
Yeah, it's bound for glory.
If you can guess which episode was recorded mostly shirtless, email us at idon'tevenowntelevision@gmail.com, and I'll send the winner a prize. That prize may be the shirt I wasn't wearing when we recorded, but maybe something better.
Who knows? Yeah, I might cut off part of my hair and send it to you for no reason at all.
That's
who knows? We're just
infectious.
wacky like that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you want to email us, please do. We're on the socials in a very attenuated way, so if you actually want to send us something, definitely email is the way to go. We also have a Patreon where you can support the show with a small monthly donation that really helps us, especially as times get weirder, helps motivate us to focus on the show and helps us carve out the time and space to do the show. And that is at patreon.com, patreon.com/IDEOTV. And, you know, it's not just out of the goodness of your heart that you can do this, because if you support us at various levels, you will get an extra episode every month.
We've been kind of taking a little while to get to it this time around, but we very shortly will be discussing the movie adaptation of the book that we talked about last time around, Damnation Alley.
Whoa. Language, Jay. Language.
Sorry. Tarnation Alley. And it should be a lot of fun. I haven't watched the movie yet. I've heard it's quite something. And so we'll be doing that within the next couple days. So.
I'm halfway through it, and well, I should say I'm halfway through it for the third time. Daddy's attention payer is having a little trouble staying on lately, but it is quite something. Also, too, side note, I will never stop laughing at the Tarnation Alley joke. Come at me, haters.
But yeah, thank you for listening. I'm going to. I know we do a lot of jokes about don't add us, etc., etc. There's something I would like explained to me. publishing delays in certain countries, why do they happen? Seriously, if you know the answer to this, please let me know. Specifically,
okay, explain why.
Specifically, because I had to pirate 2 books I plan on buying next month just because I got so sick of waiting for them to be published in the U.S., even though the same publisher that's releasing them in the U.S. has had them available in the U.K. since like April. Why? What is the reasoning behind that? If you know the answer to this question, please let me know. Because it's not just this book. It's lots of books. So weird. All right. Thank you.
That's a very good question. So if you know, send us an email at idon'tevenototelevision@gmail.com. And I too have a question. And that question is why the Star Wars Cinematic Universe, which was perfect in all respects, had to get turned over to a bunch of SJW cucks.
Hey, wait a second.
No, sorry.
Yeah, man. Whew. Okay, yeah, you're right. Well, anyway, you've been listening to 2 white men in their middle ages complain about movies for children. And we'll be back in a couple weeks to yell at you some more in weird voices.
No, sorry about that. Sometimes everything just gets a little too toxic and it has to come out. Anyway, those movies are fine.
Hey, we love you all. There is one Rian Johnson movie I don't give a shit about. Guess which one it is? All right.
Gonna guess it's not Brick.
Oh, no, Brick's a fucking masterpiece. Anyway. Sorry.
I like Brick enormously. I took a friend of mine to see Brick. He fell the F asleep.
I don't even understand. Like, I didn't get to see it in theaters, but like, how could you fall asleep during that movie? It's a fucking weird-ass, absurdist noir masterpiece.
Yeah, like, come on.
Also, I think that was the first time I saw Joseph Gordon-Levitt like play like a leading role in a movie. I'm not sure if that was his first leading role or not, but man, that movie made an impact on me. I still love it.
You were
anyway,
like, hey, that kid from Third Rock from the Sun is pretty good.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Because it's not too far removed from that show temporally.
Not at all.
Anyway,
yeah.
Speaking of tempura, I'm hungry, so let's go ahead and put a cap on this.
I mean, you're hungry and I'm fried. Speaking of tempura, so yeah, we'll end it. Thank you for listening, and until next time, please, I beg of you.
Ride the crab, Rangoon?
Ride the crab through the snow.
Oh, shit! Later.
Jingle bell noise, jingle bell noise, jingle bell noise, jingle bell noise.
No, we're not. We're still here, folks.
Dachshund through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Over the fields we go, laughing all the way.
Merry Christmas, everybody!